Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about Sicilian Defense. We are going to see how to play it, what are some of the main lines white can try against it, and which are some of the main variations we can see included in Sicilian Defense as black. So e4, c5, here we have Sicilian Defense. Something we need to understand very well is that Sicilian is the most popular and best scoring move against king's pawn, against e4. So that's something we need to remember and understand very well. We are talking about a very important defense here. How is this so good if we're not even developing one piece here? Well, we're controlling the center with the pawn. That's already something really good. And also something very important is that if at some point white tries something, if at some point they need or they want to get some advantage, they will need to play d4. And then they will be trading a central pawn for a side pawn. This means that black could have a pawn majority in the center if that happens. So that's like the whole point of the move c5. When we play Sicilian, white can try two main approaches. I mean, some lines, but we could divide them into main approaches. The line where white plays d4, and that's what we call open Sicilian, or the lines where they don't play d4. Actually, they have some variations doing that, like not playing d4. So let's take a look at some of the lines when they don't play open, like when they play, for example, knight c3. And this is actually what we call closed Sicilian. Here we can continue like knight c6, and they might just develop pieces not playing d4, like g3, we play g6, bishop g2, bishop g7, and for example d3, d6. This is going to be a very normal position, more or less equal. We're going to develop this knight over f6, or sometimes also we can play e6 and knight e7. One of the main ideas is that we want to control this square very well with as many pieces as possible. Probably we can use it as a good square for the knight, and also sometimes we can connect the two knights, like one knight to d4 and the other knight coming over e7, c6. That's a really interesting plan in these positions. Also, after e4, c5, starting with knight c3 and knight c6, white can play a very popular line, and is this Grand Prix attack when they play f4 here. After f4, the line can continue with g6, and white can play knight f3, bishop g7, and there are two main approaches here for white. One of them is bishop c4, a little more aggressive, targeting the king side, or bishop b5 with some ideas of bishop takes knight, damaging a little the pawn structure over there at some point. Well, that's Grand Prix attack, and that's what can happen with this knight c3. Also, we need to talk about, for example, c3. That's a lapping defense. When your opponent plays that, you need to either play d5, reacting in the center immediately, taking advantage of this pawn blocking that square so they cannot play knight c3 after the trade. So d5 or knight f6. Those are the main lines here. There are some other options, but they are not better than these two main lines for black. So e4, c5, I think that's those are some of the most important variations white can try when they don't play open Sicilian. And the other lines is when they play open Sicilian, which is actually the main line. It's the most popular way to face Sicilian defense. Here we can either play knight c6 or d6 or also e6. Let's take a look at some of the defenses we can play starting with d6. Here white can open d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, we will play knight f6, and then they will play knight c3. This is a key position in the theory of Sicilian defense, because here black can decide among some important defenses. For example, if black plays here a6, we are in neither defense, probably the most popular variation in Sicilian for black. Also, we could be talking about g6, that's dragon, very aggressive. Also, we could be playing e6 here, that's Scheveningen. Or maybe we can talk about knight c6. That's a classical system variation in Sicilian defense. So that's what can happen in this main line. But also, if instead of playing d6, black plays here knight c6, there are some more interesting variations for black. So let's say they open, we trade, knight takes d4, and at this point we can play g6, that's accelerated dragon, and the other line we need to look at is when black plays knight f6, it's attacking the central pawn, white needs to defend with knight c3, and then we can play here e5. That's a Sveshnikov variation, also very common and very popular these days. So we have already covered the most important lines included in Sicilian Defense. If you guys want to learn how to play King's Indian Defense, that's a very strong variation against Queen's Pawn, check out this interesting video over here. I'm sure you will enjoy it and it will help you a lot to face d4 in move number 1. Thank you so much guys, like, subscribe, see you on the next.